Okay, so welcome everyone to the second part of our enablement series. The first one was done by David from Western Australia, and we will have a third one next week where we focus on the multi-camera solutions, where the systems then is generally running Windows. A Windows solution in the background. Now, I have quite a lot of slides in that presentation, where quite a lot of them are meant for your knowledge repository, which means we hand out those slides afterwards to you, and you are invited to go through those links that are added there. There's an appendix at the end, which more or less where I try to summarize everything that is important, especially in terms of troubleshooting and where to go to when there are issues arriving. So now let me start off with that presentation. We will look into the Teams rooms market, Yealink solutions, basic setup and cabling configuration, accessories, options and restrictions, troubleshooting basics, management security, and MDEP certification, which is very big topic at the moment, especially since Microsoft started to force Android devices to use AOSP and MDEP from mid-May onwards. And then we look at Yealink certification, certification in terms of training yourself. We look at leader resources, what we offer, and then again at the end there is the appendix. There are a couple of slides which I moved out, especially also with upcoming hardware, which will be in those slides as well. You will see them then, but they are not part of the presentation this afternoon. Okay, now the Teams rooms market. Why is there such a demand? Roughly 30% of all the employees work in a hybrid model. This is based on 2023, more or less short after the pandemic. Increasing companies are carrying out about the meeting experience of remote attendees to achieve meeting equity. And over 70% of the Teams room devices are Android, which will most likely boost when we then also look in what is coming from Microsoft in terms of bringing them to the equal level of Windows-based solutions and also one hardware that is around. My mouse here. Then what is a Microsoft Teams room? We have the hardware, which is running with Windows or Android operating system. We have a camera, we have a microphone, we have a speaker, and we have a display. We have the software, which is the Microsoft Teams application. I mean, there is also a Zoom solution, and there is a Google solution. However, what is very important to know, and I would like to say that now at the very beginning, but it is something that people must understand, Google uses proprietary hardware. There is no solution in the market with more or less like open free manufacturers that have Google Meet running on them. All that we can do is have them either with Windows in kind of a SIP guest join, where we use a Pro license, or we use them as BYOD. But there is no device out there that is running a Google solution, except for the Google certified devices that come from Google themselves. Yeah, that's very important to know. Now the software, again, Microsoft Teams application or Zoom application. We require Microsoft Intune in the backend, Microsoft Entra now, before it was called Azure, and we can offer or use the Microsoft Whiteboard. Now, also in regarding to the software, Microsoft Teams application or Zoom. Yeah, it's also very important to know there is no Microsoft Teams rooms, and we talk about Teams rooms this afternoon. There's no Microsoft Teams rooms and Zoom room on the same device. And that is not because certain or the manufacturer, like in our case, Yealink, is not able to do that. It is because those manufacturers, the platform, the UC providers, are not willing to share the devices. That is understandable in one way, because if there are two different platforms running on the device, they might run into issues or whatever. But also, especially Microsoft Teams, they want to use their dominant position in the market. We use most likely 90% of all the rooms are using Teams rooms. Yeah. So it's not that the vendor, the hardware vendor, the hardware manufacturer is not able to offer that. Yealink tried it multiple times. They always have been cut down by Microsoft, where Microsoft decides if Microsoft Teams Rooms runs on a device, there is no other UC provider. Yeah, and you heard just that I used UC. It's unified communication and not IT. It's also a very important part that we must understand. Something we see all the time again, IT, it's UC. With the license, we require a Microsoft Teams Room license or a basic, so Microsoft Teams Room license, basic or pro. Also there, different points. We have a link then afterwards as well, where you can see what is the difference between them. And based on the use case, you use either the pro or the basic. Of course, pro is always better. Customer key pain points are, for example, people working remotely are not engaged. So main point from the Teams rooms or for Zoom rooms to have people, the remote participants, engaged. When we conduct a meeting in a boardroom or in a meeting room, we see each other. We feel each other. We can see how we react to certain topics. But we don't see that from the remote participants, and the remote participants don't see that from us. From that perspective, it is very important that we choose the right gear for such a room, and we also use the correct placement of the camera and of the audio devices. If we don't do that, we lose the remote participants. It's also important that the systems are easy to use for all. People like we installers, we are specialists, but the customer is not a specialist. The customer doesn't want to spend 30 minutes and trying to get the meeting run, while half of the meeting is already over when the first chapter or the first topic is raised. Yeah. So from that perspective, the Zoom and the Teams Room solution, they focus on make it easy for everyone. You have a single join button, you join the meeting, and then you just have to conduct the meeting and control the audio devices, camera, mute or turn off camera, whatever. Also possible is that the meeting devices can be flexible. So literally have them on a trolley, use a interactive board that has Teams rooms on them, where you, for example, just need to power them up in a different room. You can wheel them around, or also when you use them in the same room, that the room is having a flexible setup and you need to move them to different areas in the same room at given times. So from that perspective, you can adjust the meeting room and the meeting display used in it. And then also we ensure that all the devices, when we use those room settings, the Teams rooms and the Zoom room, that the endpoints are all secured and managed. That is often done from the backend automatically. On top of that, we also have to understand that these rooms are considered as public spaces. Therefore, there is no way that we can save content on these devices. It's a virtual boardroom. So more or less when I go into our boardroom here and I leave the boardroom, I take my papers with me. I don't let them lie around. So from that perspective, that there is no traces being left, because in those meetings, as you know, there sometimes can be very delicate topics discussed, especially if it goes about internal staff and all these kind of things. So from that perspective, there's no traces. There is whiteboarding must be stored, or by Microsoft, meanwhile, is automatically stored on the OneDrive of the organizer, but there is nothing that I could, for example, in a Teams Rooms meeting, use access to OneDrive through the system. I have to bring in a notebook and then literally do screen share when I want to bring up something from OneDrive. Now, the Yealink solutions. Yealink is focusing very, very strongly, first of all, on the roadmap from Microsoft. So they try to be upfront and in line with Microsoft, with Microsoft's roadmap as much as possible. Therefore, they also put a lot of their staff and their financial capabilities into the investment. We have over 2,500 people of staff from Yealink. We have over 50% are technical staff, and over 30% are going into the research and development investment. They have more than 600 patents under their belts. As you can see from the pictures below, they also use very high-end setups to actually get audio and video enhancements tested and ensure that they are actually fitting the needs of the customers. Now, as you can see from that slide here, we have room solutions on Windows and Android, and from small to extra large town hall, pro AV solutions, multiple cameras. So from that perspective, we have quite a large variety that we can cover with Yealink here. Of course, that all comes at a certain cost, but the result that you have with those kind of setups is really adding strongly to the outcome of the customers' meetings. We also have interactive displays. We just have there just has been new hardware released with the Pro series of the meeting board, the 65 new, now a 75-inch screen as well, and an 86-inch screen. We can enhance them with a Windows OPS module that can run just as a Windows device, like there's a version that has Windows IoT installed, or we can have that run as a Teams Rooms certified model, where we then just have a different image on it. In combination with those rooms, we have then also ceiling audio hardware. We have the CM50 and the AP08, which are Dante devices, which support the Dante audio protocol and can be added to the Windows-based solutions, the medium, large room to bigger room solutions, depending on the requirement and also of the capability of the room audio. And then we also have the CM20 and the CS10, which are for the basic general setup rooms. And then there is also the Dante version of the speaker, which is going in combination with the AP08 and the 50. And on top of that, we have then also Teams audio devices where we have the Teams phones, Bluetooth and DECT headsets that interact with the Teams phones. And then we have room accessories, in example, the room scheduling panel, which can be mounted on the wall outside the room and only needs access to the Exchange server of that specific room. So it does not need to be connected to the room itself. It just needs to link back to the Exchange account of the room resource account, to actually be able to show when the room is booked or when the room is free. And it requires a pro license to be able to work. Now, the Yealink Android solutions, we have, as I said before, we have a wide variety of solutions. When we look at the Android, we have phone room, we have the A10 there, phone room, small room. Then from the small room to the medium room, we have the A40. With the M Tower, we can go up to a large room. It all comes down on how the people are seated, how wide the room is, or how wide the table is, that kind of stuff. We have U-shaped rooms. You see then there's nothing anymore then after that. Because the U-shaped room is then from there onwards, it is something that we really have to need to cover the room, the quality of the audio of the attendees with a Windows-based solution where we then literally run with multi-cameras. So U-shaped room, training room upwards is Windows solution. Also large room, medium room can be Windows-based solution, comes down what the customer prefers. And then open spaces, we are flexible then there again with running with a meeting board, or we do something also with a Windows-based solution in that regard. You see also then there the additionals that we can have there, tabletop microphones, they can be wired or Wi-Fi, ceiling microphones and speakers when we have content share, BYOD, and then the meeting control for the meeting bars or for the interactive display. And then PT set camera, there's a 12 times PT set camera available for the meeting board. Now, a traditional meeting board series where the meeting room already has a TV that can be reused, we suggest a meeting bar solution as the better choice. We have the A40 for small and medium rooms, A10 for huddle or phone room, and then the A30 for better clarity and image quality. However, the A40 is on par with the A30 in terms of quality also for the reach. There's also a new model of all-in-one gear coming out. Now, if the customer needs an interactive display, for example, for whiteboarding, to use the whiteboarding functionality that is built into Teams rooms, and he needs a touch display, he is definitely better suited with the meeting board series, which can be wall mounted or can be mounted on a trolley to be moved around. Meeting board as well has Wi-Fi capability, so you can connect it to the Wi-Fi, so you're not anymore bound to the network cable. You only have then the power cable that you might have to plug out and plug in. Now, it's fits more or less in for new rooms or refurbished rooms, or when the customer thinks, oh yeah, I want to get rid of that old TV as well. When I get rid of my webcam that sits on top of the TV, you can add that in there for an example, when they want to just refurbish their room and say, okay, we get rid of the TV, you can definitely use a meeting board. The meeting board, the Pro version, has excellent camera quality. I just had a couple of people in our demo room in Melbourne an hour ago, and I showed them the older version and the newer version, and we were standing, and it was all done with the digital camera, was standing away in the same distance from the old one and the new one, and the quality of the cameras is just exceptional in terms of what you get for the new board compared with the old board. Now, Yealink keeps innovating in AI. We have been seeing the first AI features from from a Yealink introduced in 2018, which were like auto framing, and then we moved over to speaker tracking, presenter tracking, that kind of stuff. Now in 2021, we then realized, or we faced then intelligent noise cut, so that they were able to add noise cancellation. And now with AI3, we then also have AI audio and intelligent camera combined in that regard. Now, we are just merging over into the next generation of AI. There was, I think yesterday was a meeting, a training from Yealink that was able to be watched. What is coming, and there will come more stuff. And the beauty of Yealink is it's more or less all backwards compatible. So the new stuff that is released is actually working together with older stuff. Again, Android is not as versatile as Windows-based systems, but yeah, also there's a lot of features being added and additional gear. Now, what we're seeing right now is an exponential demand for MTR, new systems, and refresh small rooms across all industry. Yealink is well positioned, innovative, affordable, and in stock. Leader has demo centers in each branch. So in all states, we have a demo center where we have demo pool of the latest gear on hand. We have support on hand there, and every installer is capable or allowed to book a demo with his customer, his potential customer, to come in and look at the gear that they are focusing on. And again, Yealink delivers everything out of one hand. We have the compute for the Windows-based solutions, the cameras, the touch panel, the audio devices. It's all out of one hand. We don't have to mix and match and then more or less live with incompatibility between different vendors. When there is an issue, it's one brand where you have to go to. It's not that you have to go for one thing to one brand with one thing to the other brand. I say that now. So, however, if there is, we see that there's a differentiation in that as well, because if it's hardware, it's Yealink. If it's software, Teams, it's Microsoft. Yeah, that's something that's a very important part we must learn. Basic setup, cabling, and configuration. This is a video that I would like to show you that is done by Yealink. It's pretty short, and it's actually, yeah, brings it just all together. Now let me quickly start that, and I hope you can hear what they are saying.
Here I will introduce the
I clicked on
connection of Android-based solution. For Android device, you could use the host, the bar or meeting board as a single device, or you could pair a touch panel with it to control. In our solution, Android bar and the touch panel can be paired via a network. Our Android bar also supports to connect wired microphones and VSH 15.1 through VSH port. If you need to connect more than one accessory, you will need a PoE switch to connect to the VSH port of bar. But attention that this PoE switch should not connect to external networks. Here I will introduce the connection of Android-based solution.
It started again. That's my mistake. I wanted to pause that one moment.
To external networks.
Okay. I would like to line out here a very important part that she just said. Get me the pen here. Pen, then the ink color, make that orange. Okay. So we have on the Android bar here, that's the host. We connect that to the internet. And we have a so-called VCH, that's the isolated network port from Yealink that connects all the audio gear and the, for example, the content sharing BYOD gear, like the VCH51, connect together on an isolated network. So at the back of the bar, there are two network ports. One says internet, the other one is VCH. VCH is just for the accessories. You can connect the touch panel there, or you can connect a VCM35 cabled microphone. You can connect the VCH51 there. You can connect the CM20 there. But you do not connect these devices to the corporate network. They will not work. You have to have then, in that case, if you have more than one device that goes to the VCH port, you have to have a PoE switch, and then you can literally connect them to that port. Now, as said it before already, the CTP touch panel can be either paired via the corporate network, or it can be paired directly to the VCH port. If we connect it via the corporate network, we have to make sure that they are in the same subnet. So the bar and the touch panel has to be in the same subnet, and most likely on the same switch. More we come to then later on. I go then forward with this one here.
Also, our touch panel supports direct connection with Android bar through research port, but we need to enable the deployment mode in the web interface. When directly connect them, for A40 and CTP25, you only need to log in to your Teams account on A40, and it will be automatically synced to CTP25. While A20 and A30 with CTP18, you need to log in twice. The deployment mode of meeting bar A40 is enabled by default. For A20 and A30, you can access the web interface using their IP addresses and enable the deployment mode in the advanced feature menu. Here I will introduce the content sharing and the BLD methods for meeting bar. Different models support different content sharing and BLD connections. For A10, it supports to do sharing and BLD through a single USB-C cable directly. And if you are using A40 with CTP25, the touch panel comes with a USB-C cable and supports direct connection to a PC for content sharing and BLD functionality. A20 and A30 can achieve wired BLD and content sharing through VCH51. It is a box, and we need to connect two cables on it. A40 can also use VCH51 for sharing and BLD. Using one cable to realize sharing and BLD function is also the focus of our future development.
Okay, so that was it.
Here I will introduce the connection of Android-based.
Wrong click here. Next slide goes here. Now, if we look at the basic setup or the unboxing of the A40, which is the latest Android bar that Yealink has released, we will see the following.
What's in the box? One, basic connection. For the connection between A40 and CTP25, please refer to the CTP25 unboxing video. 2. Assemble cable cover. Find the two slots on the back of A40. Fit part A of the cable cover into the slots. Assemble part B and fix the screws. 3. Installation. Option 1. Mount on a wall. Step 1. Determine A40 position. The installation height of the meeting bar A40 should be at 1.1 meter or above. The installation height will affect the camera's field of view. Mount the A40 below the TV when the mounting height of the TV is greater than 120 centimeters. Mount the A40 above the TV when the mounting height of the TV is less than 120 centimeters. Mark the holes. Drill holes and insert expansion anchors. Drive in the screws to complete the installation. Secure with self-locking screws. Fix the adjusting screw, which can adjust the angle of A40. Option 2. Mount above a TV or a display. Attach the M1 bracket to the A40. Tighten the screws. The M2 bracket can be inserted into the M1 in 2 directions. Mount the M2 bracket to the M1 bracket. Then mount the A40 above a TV or a display. Option 3. Put on a flat surface. Use silicone pads to attach the A40 to the TV stand cart platform. Option 4. Embed in the wall. The installation height of the A40 should be at 1.1 m or above the ground. The recommended on the left, right and top sides of the A40 is less than 0.5 centimeters. Leave a certain distance between the back of the A40 and the wall surface for cable connections. Option 5. Mount on the tabletop stand. If your television cabinet has no enough height or you prefer not to mount your equipment on the wall, we can offer a tabletop stand mount. Use the self-locking screws. Install the mounting bracket on the A40. Fix the adjusting screw. Attach A40 to the tabletop mount stand. Use the fixing screw to secure the device to the tabletop mount stand. Four, adjust the camera tilt. Adjust the screw to change the tilt of the A40 camera. Five, initialization. Option 1. If you have a remote control, continue watching this video. Option 2. If you have a CTP25, watch the CTP25 unboxing video to complete the deployment.
I tried to find the CTP25 unboxing video. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find it. So we have to just go through the process with the remote control. Generally, it's the same. You just log in on the CTP25 when you have it directly connected to the bar, for example. Else you have to register on both devices when you have it then paired via the corporate network.
Step 1. Click OK button of the remote control for 3 times. Step 2. Select language. Step 3. Configure network. Step 4. Set your time zone. Step 5. Configure auto upgrade. Open automatic update if you need to get real-time software updates. Step 6. Select required platform.
So that's literally it. Now, I would like to add a couple of points to that video, what we saw, and especially in regards of the camera mount position. We saw in the video that we had the situation where we got told when you have the TV, mount the bar below the TV. This is something I strongly advise, because when we conduct a meeting, it's all about the remote participants and their engagement. So when we have the bar on the wall, the idea is that the bar itself is on eye level with the people who sit at the table in that meeting room. If we put the bar up here, the camera of the meeting room device looks down, and the remote participants, they feel as if they would be a spectator. They would watch us conduct the meeting. They don't feel engaged. They are supervising the people in the room. So what I advise is, whenever we have the option to have the camera mounted below the TV, and that goes from 1 meter to max 140, 150, mounted onto the TV. In a worst case, I would mount the TV up. But what we want is that the remote participants, that we look straight into the camera, yeah, and we don't look up, or that the remote participants, especially the remote participants, that they don't look down. Now, if we think about a TV that sits somewhere here on a wall, and we have then either we have the bar below, and we have the table we have on that height, and then we have people sitting here. They look straight, and the remote people, they look straight. If we have the bar up here, people look down. Yeah. And that is disengaging, because they watch these people here on how they conduct the meeting. Yeah. So if possible, camera below the bar. If it's possible, move the TV up. Camera below, not below the bar, below the TV, sorry. If possible, move the TV up. Only in the worst case, if nothing else works, or if nothing else is possible, camera above the TV. And then, if possible, the TV down as much as possible, so that we get flatter with that angle here again. Yeah. Then what they also didn't show, there is a TV mount for the cameras, so that is also possible, which is suiting, I think, to Visa up to 600 by 400, that kind of stuff, where you have a bracket that you can mount behind the TV, and then below that you can mount the camera to it. Yeah. Okay, now, what happens when we have all that set up? That's now where literally the tech comes in. We have done all the cabling. We have the bar and the touch panel paired in the same network. Network related, we have to say, the flatter the network, the better for the devices. So with flat network, I mean not too much security policies in the network, if possible on a guest network or whatever. And we come then afterwards to that as well when it goes about troubleshooting what actually Teams or Zoom doesn't like. It's not that the Yealink devices don't like it. We talk about the provider. We have to understand the gear is they're just offering the platform for the software that runs on them. That I will not say that they are dummies, but they literally just do what the platform is or the software is letting them do. Now, we generally have then the devices pairing together. we have here the, where's my pen? Yeah, we have the meeting bar and the touch panel. They pair on the IP-based network if we don't have them connected via the VCH port. They pair via the IP-based network. Once they are paired on the IP-based network, same subnet, same switch, we then, and from my experience, I strongly advise that you work first on the bar. You go through the Teams registration process so that the bar literally connects to the Teams backend. Once the bar is registered, you go to the touch panel because they pair on the backend together. So when the touch panel joins Teams, he is actually looking, do I have a pairing device that is there? If I go first with the touch panel will tell me and say, no device can be found because the bar is not registered yet. So go first with the bar and then go with the touch panel. Once the bar is registered, the touch panel will find the bar and then literally will register. Accessories, options, and restrictions. I made you here a little bit of a compatibility matrix. Yealink has a whole list of devices that are compatible with each other or not, and coming down to firmware and also what devices are in use together already. So you see here, these are all Android-based devices, the A10, the A40, the A30, and the Meeting Board Pro, and what they work together. There could be that certain devices work with something. Yealink is very broad there, but however, this is not official. So this means there is no guarantee that this will be supported further down the track. Yeah. But however, there is also the option that certain devices that are not working at the moment together, that they might be working with a future firmware update. Yeah. So that is something, especially that link here, you will have that then in the slides after, is very important for, it's a very important resource when you go and want to see what is actually working together. Now comes probably the most important topic, troubleshooting basics. Now, what we must understand is when we talk about Teams Rooms devices, we talk with different manufacturers. We have hardware, which is the Yealink gear. This is all the vendors that offer the gear for Teams Rooms, for Zoom Room, but they just offer literally the dummies that make the software work. Yeah, we have network around us, and we have then the UC provider, again Teams, Zoom. Now, what is very important when you come or when your customer comes to you and says, oh, I have an issue, that is not working or that is not working. What is hardware related issue? Hardware is hardware. So if the camera is not working, the microphone is not working, the touch device is unresponsive, touch device is not paired, device not booting. This is hardware related. Hardware issues are only related to the hardware themselves. However, there are also some specific things like touch device unresponsive. We have there a bug with the MTR app on Windows solutions. I come to that then next week. How to fix: reboot, factory reset, firmware update, check with a different unit. When we get requests, support requests of faulty hardware from customers, and we take that to Yealink in the way they come, we go back with a list of questions to the installer, and which Yealink asks us, say, has this been done? Has this been done? Has this been done? Has this been done? In a couple of slides, we look actually in the best way what you must provide that your issue is resolved as fast as possible. Network. It is the general rule, the flatter the network, the better. No proxies, no deep packet inspection, no restriction to required MS domains, IPs or ports. Host and touch device are on the same subnet switch. NTP server can be reached. NTP plays a crucial role in Teams. not only in Teams rooms, but also in Teams. I had customers who were unable to enroll hundreds of MP phones or Teams phones because the Teams phones were not able to reach the NTP server. And that has nothing to do with the manufacturer of the hardware. That's solely, entirely Microsoft Teams. Yeah. If these issues arrive, if the device is not able to reach out to Microsoft Teams, to the Teams backend, IT network support that has to be addressed. Also, for example, if whiteboard is not working or that kind of stuff. UC provider. UC provider is Teams, Zoom. A lot of the issues we see are coming from the UC provider end. If these issues arrive, they must be raised with the UC provider. Once the hardware can reach the internet and the backup of the backend of the UC provider, it can't be raised with the hardware vendor. It's a waste of time for everyone. You, the end user, us, and the vendor. Yeah. So I show you here a couple of examples. Sign in failed. Device administration disabled. Couldn't find any devices. Couldn't connect to workplace join. Opening whiteboard and it's still staying there. That's all Teams backend issues. If these issues arrive, as soon as you're on that black screen here, black screen with that icon and the red text and all that stuff, you're on the Teams backend. The Yealink gear or the hardware, the vendor's hardware is working. They are through the network, they go down to Teams. That is Teams backend issues, yeah? So here the device, in the backend, the admin rights were not given to the device, that kind of stuff. So these are MTR issues that needs to be checked with Microsoft. If you raise a ticket with us, we will say it's MTR. Go to Microsoft. It has nothing to do with Yealink because Yealink is actually reaching the backend of the Teams admin center or the Teams application. So that is literally all going down to Microsoft. Now, if you are in the end having a hardware issue, what are the steps to be done? First, reboot the device, reboot the system. Cross-check. Take a working device and see if the issue persists. That is something Yealink will ask you. Cables, check if cables are faulty, HDMI cables, USB cables, these kind of things, cross-check with them. Firmware update, check on the Yealink website, the release note page. There is also, I gave you that link, if there is a firmware update. Now, why the release note page? Because there are release notes with the firmware to tell you if there is anything that you have to be aware of. Factory default the device, check if a factory reset resolves the issue. Then, if all that above doesn't work, take a video of the issue. If the above didn't solve the issue, take a video of the issue. Yealink will ask you for a video to prove what the issue is. It's also for us much, much easier to understand what is the issue, and it's much faster with a video to troubleshoot, to address the right thing. Then send an email to us to uc-support@leadersystems.com.au containing the description of the issue in dot points, because we, if necessary, hand that over to Yealink. And if someone writes a novel about whatever, nobody will understand that. Use dot points. This. How the issue can be replicated. Dot points. First do this, then do this, then do this, then do this, then the issue arrives. Attach log files of the replication of the issue. Attach the video of the issue and attach a timestamp of when the issue has been replicated. Day, month, and then unfortunately that didn't take it, hour and the minute. Yeah, because logs No vendor will go to thousands of lines of logs to try to find an issue when there is no timestamp. They just get back to you and say, okay, replicate it again, add the timestamp to it. Yeah. It's all in the interest to get issues resolved as fast as possible. Yeah. So these steps, they help. I had last week, I had a faulty A10 camera, asked the customer to send me in these kind of things. Once Yealink was reading the ticket, they accepted the RA and raised an RMA. Because through the video, they could see there is an issue, there is something wrong. Okay, the device is faulty, RA was accepted. It speeds up the whole process, I can tell you that. Now, quickly watching a video from Yealink here on how to collect audio logs.
First, you need to obtain the IP address of the device. Then, log into web user interface of the device. Double-click to open the browser. Enter the IP address of the corresponding device to go to the web user interface. Click Advanced and choose to continue the access. Enter username and password to login. Default username, admin, password, 0000. In the left menu bar, first select System. Then select System Diagnosis. In the Audio Diagnostic, click Start button to reproduce the issue. Note: a 10 should be kept in working condition. At this point, the log file download will start. You need to observe whether A10 successfully reproduced the issue. Note: during this process, the device cannot be restarted. If the device is restarted, the system log will be cleared. Repeat this step if the issue is not successfully reproduced. Click Stop button after the issue is successfully reproduced. The log file will be downloaded. At the same time, you need to record the current time. Finally, send the log and the timestamp to Yealink technical support team via ticket system.
Okay, there is the passwords will have changed, so they force you now to use a different password, so it most likely will not be 4 times 0 anymore. And then the logs you send to us. Diagnostic logs.
Hi, welcome to our channel. In this video, we will introduce the detailed way to export log. To export the log, you need to go through 4 steps. Step 1, obtain the IP address via the path. Settings, device settings, about, IP. Step 2, reproduce the issue. Log into web user interface of the device. Enter HTTPS plus the IP address of the corresponding device. Then, click Advanced and choose to continue the access. Enter the default username and password to login. In the left menu bar, select System. System Diagnostic. In the local log and syslog sections, set the local log level, syslog level to 6 to obtain the most completed log. Then, click Confirm. Click Start to reproduce the issue. After the issue is reproduced, click Stop, and record the issue timestamp. then click Export. Finally, send the log and the timestamp to Yealink.
Again, you send the log and the timestamp and all the additional information on how to replicate the issue and all that stuff to us, UC-support at leader, UC-support at leadersystems.com.au.
Hi, well.
Now, Microsoft has support backends. We have the Microsoft Teams Admin Center. We have the Microsoft Teams Pro Management Portal, which is also now having the basic licenses inside. However, you cannot do the Pro features with running a basic license. And we have Microsoft Intune. All these platforms can help you to maintain, supervise your Teams Rooms devices, but they are all Microsoft platforms. So from that perspective, you have to get aware or teach yourself on how to use them or what is important there. Now, with Microsoft New, we also move from the Android Device Manager to AOSP. That's the Android open source platform. From May 15th, which is like 2 weeks ago nearly, onwards, Microsoft moves all MTR OA devices to AOSP. There was a cadence period, a grace period from Microsoft since the beginning of the year until mid-May, and now it is forced. So they force you to update the devices. There are a couple of points that need to be considered. These links will help you. And again, if the devices are not pairing together, if they are not joining, it is a thing that is on the Microsoft backend. Read those articles carefully, because it's very important in also the steps you do, how you enroll those devices. Also, make sure you don't have, for example, DEM accounts. So that's when you enroll on the Android Manager, you were able to enroll devices in mass with DEM. That is not supported anymore, AOSP. So you have to take all the Android devices out of DEM, else you run into issues. Then also you have to make sure that the devices must run the latest non-AOS firm, AOSP for device management firmware and Teams application before AOS DM capable firmware shows in the Teams Admin Center as an update. Yeah, so there's on the Microsoft website, there's always these important boxes. Unfortunately, they are in blue and not in red. A lot of people just jump over them. They are highly important. Read them. Know what is inside there. Follow what is announced inside there as steps of how to deploy them. Now, also make sure when you move over to AOSP, ensure that the latest firmware or the latest MTR app version is pushed to all the devices before it's actually going to work. So we have seen quite some issues coming up with that transition, but again, it's not something that comes from Yealink as the manufacturer or the vendor. It's all literally Microsoft backend related. Now, MDEP is the new device ecosystem platform from Microsoft. Some vendors don't embrace it. Yealink embraces it. Now, this is a platform which is controlled by Microsoft then and not by Google anymore. It supports Android 13. It ensures secure boot, hardware attestation, Microsoft PKI, and secure pairing. Now, that is all termed in regards of security and stability of the devices. Now, there are a couple of points that we must know. Some of them are lined out here in the Yealink knowledge base. So pairing number limitation. And that's not happening. That's nothing from Yealink. It is a Microsoft decision. So if we use AOSP and MDEP in Teams mode, the CTP25 of the A40 will automatically be paired with the AIO that is logged into the same Teams account. So it's necessary to ensure that a Teams account can only be logged in by one AIO device. So it's literally meaning you can't have multiple registrations, or you can't have, on one Teams Rooms account. So only one device, one room per Teams Rooms account. Before that was possible to have multiple registration. Time sync requirement. Again, NTP is crucial for Teams. It has to be in the same time zone. It has to have, the devices have to be able to reach the NTP server. Network requirement. AIO device with MDEP version does not support the pair the CTP in absence of a network connection. The network must be a private network. So from that perspective, there are all restrictions in that regard. There's more to come. We're still receiving on a weekly level, not on a daily, but on a weekly level, new inputs from either Yealink or customers which run into certain issues. Yeah. The Yealink Management Cloud service is a service where we can maintain and monitor the devices that are out there in the field. The server location is in Sydney, Australia. You can have remote diagnosis or log export, screenshots, remote desktop control. You can assign the devices to different branches, to different customers, and all these kind of things. We have real-time alarm, remote tasks like firmware update, these kind of things. Yeah. So it's free for certain amount of phones, up to 1,000 phones. It's free. Video conferencing devices are free as well. And there is a pro version for the video conferencing, which has a little bit more of diagnosis, alert, and remote functionality. Yealink focuses on security. Being a Chinese brand, Yealink is always undergoing the Chinese virus discussion. To be honest, if we look on the internet, on the security scorecard rating, they're on par with all the other vendors. So they're on par with Crestron, with Cisco, with Logitech. So from that perspective, there is nothing that they are not secure of. They have all the company that the security level like SOC 2, Type 2, ISO, GDPR, PSTI. They are certified for Microsoft Teams and Zoom, and they also work with trusted hardware manufacturers together like Intel, Qualcomm, Sony, and Texas Instruments. So from that perspective, they're not really no virus on them or whatever. Yealink certification. I line out here the ones that are good for a start. Next week I go then further with additional trainings. So when you want to work with Yealink gear, I highly advise that you visit or create an account on the Yealink Academy and go through the trainings that are there. They have a lot of useful information. So all the videos that I showed you today, they were from the back end there. That gives you more of an understanding on how the gear works, how you can also troubleshoot and these kind of things. And there is the third training that I advise. The technical course has a separate set of slides that includes useful information, MTR app issues, and how to raise them with MS. So it's something that Yealink actually also sees, that there is a lot of issues arrive actually from the Teams Rooms app and not from their own gear, and they try to help you to direct to get as fast as possible support. Now, I quickly want to show in a browser where you get support generally. Now here, Microsoft Teams, introduction to Microsoft Teams. It's this link here. There's a lot of useful information, and the most useful is coming into the Teams rooms and devices. There's a ton of links that I have in the appendix. You will see that then afterwards. And this then literally shows you, especially here, this section, Teams rooms panels, plan. What is all required for Teams rooms? What is the licensing? And what is all in the build-up of Teams rooms? Deploy, plan your room, prepare your environment, preparing your network. What is required for Teams rooms to actually work properly? That is stuff that you have to go with either yourself through to get ready for it, or you have to make sure that the customer's IT department understands that. Again, I said it prior at the beginning of the thing of the webinar already. Teams rooms is UC. It's unified communications. It's not IT. Even if Microsoft is involved in it, and when we use at the Teams rooms based on Windows, it's a Windows compute that we use there, but it's unified communications. It's not IT. So which means we have different forms on how what kind of transport we use, packets, ports that are required, and network implementations that can cause issues for us, while they are not causing any issues for IT, normal networking. Yeah. So this section, like plan, deploy, manage, they are crucial for you or for the IT of your customer to know how to handle them. Yeah. Yealink support. We have a knowledge base here that builds up on literally the devices themselves. It's not so straightforward because we have then, for example, technical resources. We have the FAQ, the troubleshooting, known issues. And then inside here, we have more or less like the data sheets and the hands-on guides. If we go in here, for example, we then see, let's say on a meeting bar, we see the release notes. That's where you download the firmware, because you get those kind of informations in there. Yeah, because you have to read that before you do a firmware update. This is why I also don't advise to do automated firmware updates on the devices. Yeah, because when the device does an automated firmware update, you then run into a issue when your customer has an updated device which is not running anymore. And it's not a desk phone that stands there. It's a room where they do meetings. It's crucial that this stuff is working. So from that perspective, plan that stuff when you are going to do updates. Don't do them just on the fly. It's something that I also said in the PBX trainings that I did over years. Plan the updates properly. Then we have the data points here, the data sheets here. We have deployment and connections, quick start, user guide, administration guide, and we have the video center, these kind of things. But these you also see then in the academy. So it's built up in that way. However, we must know that the troubleshooting literally is in a different section. It's not that I like that. I would literally see it. We have Teams devices, and then we go more or less with the hardware, and we have all that underneath that specific hardware. Unfortunately, they do that in a different way. Yeah. So I always use the search function in the knowledge base to find stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So that's literally in that regard. Leader resources. We have 5 specialists in 5 different branches that are happy to help you out, be it in technical support, be it in troubleshooting, or be it in demo the devices for your customer. However, it is not that we are able to give Microsoft Teams admin center, whatever kind of support. Yeah. We are hardware specialists based on Yealink. We know a lot. We know, we hear when we have a staggering amount of issues, we are able to figure out, yes, okay, there is somewhere an issue, and we can give that down to the customers when they have it already. But it's not that we can tell someone, hey, you have to configure the Teams account, this or this and that. This is why you have to go to Microsoft, yeah? We do demos, we do scoping, we help you scoping. We also offer that as a professional service. We do also offer proof of concept. We offer pre-staging. It's a very useful service that we offer. We often see that the customer just purchases the hardware. He goes on site, plugs everything together, and nothing is working because every device then is on a different hardware level. Some devices are not recognized because they are too new for the hardware, the firmware that is running on the bar or what else ever. Pre-staging doesn't cost you much. I think of an Android bar, it's a couple of dollars, which you can sell to your customer as a service. And we make sure that all devices are on the latest firmware, that when we do the firmware update, we already realize the devices are actually working. So there is no DOA involved. If we face a DOA, we of course straight away replace it. Yeah. Then we help you. We have white label installers who help you to deploy the systems for you. We can always get offers on whatever kind of deployment. We can do training for your end user. We can do training for the admins of your end user. We can do training for you. We do tech support and then also RA support. We don't do the RAs ourselves. That's an RA department, but we make sure that the devices are, when they are RA, that they literally are taken care of until Yealink accepts the device as faulty. And the better the info is we get in the first row, the faster the device is confirmed faulty. Scan the QR code, book a demo. I have also the demo then in the appendix. As a quick lookup, we have the A50. I had that 2 days ago for the first time in our hand. That is the upcoming III meeting bar that is going to replace the A30. It's a bit bigger than the A40, but works in the same vein. The appendix, feel free to go through that then. It's like 10 pages of appendix, which has all necessary information inside with links and all these kind of things. Stuff like that. Okay, now let me see what we have in terms of questions, if there are any questions around. Yeah, someone asked, is the CM20 compatible with the S40? Yes, the CM20, there's two CM20s compatible with the S40. However, we have to understand that if we use the CM20, the inbuilt microphones or all other microphones like this VCM36 or the M Tower, the new M Tower, are not working anymore. So there's a hierarchy that's also somewhere lined out on the Yealink page, what the hierarchy is in the recognizing or working of the microphones or audio devices. So the CM20 in combination with the S40 have the highest hierarchy. Now, with the A40 and the S40, the CM20 will only work together. And the on top of that, the if we use the CS10, the CS10 can never work alone. So like the CM20 works. The CS10 requires either a CM20 involved or in the Windows-based systems as well, an AV hub. Yeah, that's the requirement for the CS10. Then someone asked, stepping up from A30 to S40, what is the difference? Quality. camera quality, features, and the sound improvement, be it from the microphone pickup, be it from the speaker quality, be it from the noise cancelling. But I think the biggest improvement is just the sheer crispness and clarity of the cameras that are built in. It's a completely different level. Even if they are digital cameras, it's a completely different level. What we also, and we have to understand, you mentioned there now A30 to the S40. I think you probably wanted to have the A30 to the A40. So they are more or less on par, but as Roberta just added correctly inside, the A40 is the upgrade from to the A20. However, we can use the A40 to get the same, to cover the same room with the A30. However, the A50 will be the replacement of the A30, and I haven't tested it yet because I just saw it for the Leader Expo in Adelaide. But I assume that, of course, we will be able to cover much bigger rooms with the A50 now with those cameras and the video quality. Yeah. Again, feel free to contact us if you have questions in terms of the specs of the hardware, or why is one device better than the other one. We are always happy to help you. Important is that, I think the most important thing of that webinar here is that you know where to go based on the issue you face on the customer end. Because when you know, if you have to go to Microsoft, if you have to go to the network engineers, or if you have to come to us for the hardware, this dramatically will speed up the whole process on getting the issues fixed. Please note, please add any questions if you have. And of course, if you have any questions, then afterwards, I quickly throw in my email address. You can always send that in then to me or to UC support. I might redirect certain questions because I can't answer all, so it's probably best, or I'm in a demo or whatever, it's probably best to direct it to UC support at leadersystems.com.au. These are technical questions that are going there, and then everything that is sales related goes to UC sales at Leader Systems. For example, pricing, availability for hardware, that kind of stuff goes then over to literally the UC sales department, while the support department, we are more technical pre-sales and then after sales demoing. Yeah. There's also should be, I think there should be somewhere the demo link. No, what I also added, please note, there are some YouTube videos, especially the step-by-step AOSP migration guide for Teams devices, and that's from Microsoft themselves. So from a webinar they held a couple of months ago. Please watch that to see how you get ready for AOSP, because Microsoft is forcing you to do it. Yeah. It's not something that comes from the vendor, it's something that comes from Microsoft. Any questions? If there are no more questions, then I would say we end this session. Thank you for attending. Again, if you have any issues, if you have any questions, feel free to come to us. Also with technical or issues on customers end, we might be able to help you also when it's Microsoft related, but we most likely will redirect you to Microsoft because it's just not our a general field where we work in. That's it. And Microsoft will be able to help you much faster there. Okay, in this case, I would say we end the session now, and then let me see if I can end it or if Roberta has to end it. No, I can end the session. Okay, thank you very much. And there was just a question. One moment, was there a question comment? Yeah, okay. The recording will be uploaded to the Leader Academy as well. Yeah. Okay. Thank you for attending, and I wish you a nice afternoon.